Welcome to Professor Pincushion. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how you can create your own bow tie. Now, the bow tie I'm going to be showing you is the kind that you tie, not a clip-on. The great thing about making your own bow tie, though, is that there's a wide variety of different fabrics you can use in order to get the look that you want. So let's take a look at the materials that we're going to need in order to make this bow tie. Let's take a look at what we're going to need in order to make our bow tie. Now I'm using 45-inch width fabric, and this is cotton. You can also use satin, you can use silk. I just wouldn't use anything that's stretchy or anything that's too thick and heavy. So cotton is perfect, and if you get 1/4 of a yard, that's enough for one bow tie. You're also going to need some lightweight interfacing. Now because interfacing, the width of it is so short, I would get about a yard so you have enough in order to cut out your pattern piece. You're also going to need some sewing scissors, some pins and needles, some all-purpose thread. The only thing not shown here is our sewing machine and iron. And of course what we're going to need is our pattern piece. Now this pattern piece is available on our website to download. The size of the pattern piece fits the shirt neck measurement of about 15.5 inches. So if you need something longer, you can go ahead and just add your measurement here on the end for however much you want to add. Now just remember, this is only half the bow tie. So if you add an inch, it's going to extend your bow tie by 2 inches because this is only half, and when we cut it out, this measurement, whatever you add here, is going to be doubled. So now let's take a look on what we're going to need to cut out of our pattern. Out of my fabric, I'm going to cut 2 out of my pattern piece here. And you'll see on this side, it'll say cut on the fold. So I just want to make sure that this is going to be placed on the fold of my fabric, and then I'm going to cut it out twice. So what I end up with is one long piece like this. You can see where my fold is right there. And I'm going to have 2 of these pieces. Now for the interfacing, I'm also going to cut it on the fold. Now you have a choice. If you're like me and you're using cotton or some fabric that kind of already has its own stability, go ahead and just cut out one out of the interfacing, because we're just going to apply the interfacing to one of our fabric pieces. If you're using a really lightweight fabric like silk, then definitely cut out 2 out of the interfacing, and you'll apply the interfacing to both of your fabric pieces. I now need to apply my fusible interfacing, and again, I'm only doing it to one of my fabric pieces since I'm doing cotton, or if you're doing lightweight, you're going to do it to both your fabric pieces. So to the wrong side of the piece that you're going to be applying your fusible interfacing, you're going to stick it so has the side with the glue, so the little bubble side, the texture side, that's going to the wrong side of your piece. And I'm making sure that my iron is heating up so it's nice and hot. I'll lay it right over it. I'm going to apply the pressing cloth over it, being careful to lie it down so it's not shifting anything. I'm going to dampen it. And then I'm going to grab my iron, carefully set it down for a few seconds. For about 4 or 5 seconds here is fine. And then carefully lift it up and move it over to the next section. So I'm not shifting my iron, I'm just carefully placing it down. And I'm going to do that until all my interfacing is applied. Now if I lift this, I can check to see if I need to apply a little bit more heat or it's sticking. So this part seems pretty good, so I'm just going to continue doing it for the rest of my piece. Then take your 2 bow tie pieces and you're going to place them right side to right side. And then I'm going to grab my straight pins and I'm going to pin the 2 pieces together all the way around. In the middle of your bow tie on one side, so I'm going to take this side here, I'm going to make sure that 2 of my pins are an X. So I'm going to take another set of pins. There's my X, here's another one, and I'm going to make sure that they're separated by about 3 inches, just enough, because what we're going to do is we're going to start stitching here, stitch all the way around the tie, come around, and then end up stopping here. So between these 2 X's, we're not going to stitch, we're going to leave it open, so then we have a hole right here to turn the whole thing right side out. Now I'm ready to sew my bow tie pieces together. So you can see I'm starting at the 1 pair of X's. Go ahead and put this down. And at this point, I'm definitely going to backstitch. do a couple stitches and then do a couple back stitches. I'm doing this at a 1/4 inch seam allowance. And I'm just going to go all the way around until I get to the other pair of X's, and then I'm going to do another back stitch. Because at the ends there are some curvy parts, you might have to go slow at those parts, but just take your time. On the ends, you're going to want to make sure that you clip off the corners like you see I've done here. Make sure you don't cut into your stitching line, and then you clip these little notches along the curved areas. Where it's straight, you don't have to worry about it, just the curved areas. And I do it about every 1/2 inch or so. So I've already done this one, and now I just need to do this one. Through the opening, you can now turn your bow tie right side out. So you're going to take both ends and make sure that everything's on the right side. Next, you're going to take your tie piece and you're going to press it flat. Pin the opening of the bow tie close with some straight pins. You're going to want to make sure that each side of your raw edge is folded inside your bow tie a 1/4 inch. So then it's all even with the rest of the bow tie. So all I'm going to do is just pin all this close so then we can slip stitch it. The last thing we need to do is just hand sew the bow tie opening shut. So to do that, I'm going to grab my hand sewing needle and some of my all-purpose thread, and we're going to do a slip stitch. So I'm going to start here at the end. You can kind of see my opening right here. So I'm going to start right here. And all I'm going to do is just on one side, on the inside of that fold, I'm going to grab a little bit of my fabric with my needle, pull my thread through. You can see my knot here at the end. So I'm just going to tuck that with my needle so it's on the inside of the bow tie and it's not going to be sticking out like that. And so, okay, so there we are on that side. So now I'm just going to grab a little bit of the other side. So let's just move this out of the way so it's easier to see. Grab a little bit. And then I'm going to pull it. And then now I'm going to grab a little bit of my original side again. And so I'm just going back and forth between the two sides. And if you're grabbing on the inside of your fold on each side, when you pull it, your stitches are nearly going to be invisible. It might seem a little bit if you look very closely, but to everybody else, they're not even going to notice that. And after that, your bow tie is complete. Here we have our completed bow tie. So as you can see, it doesn't take a lot of money or a lot of time to make yourself a bow tie, and you can create a lot of fun designs with the different fabrics that are out there. So now the only thing left to do is figure out how to tie a bow tie. Good luck! Make sure to check out our other videos and visit ProfessorPincushion.com to view our complete library with well over 150 sewing video tutorials. New tutorials are released regularly, so make sure to subscribe to be notified of the next release. Thanks for watching!